Okay, we hardly ever see water, and you can see my street is getting flooded already. We're not used to water in California. Swim?
Yeah, right?
It began as a quiet shift in the skies. But by mid-November 2025, Southern California was gripped by a powerful atmospheric river, transforming tranquil streets into rushing rivers and turning hillsides into high-risk zones. This extreme weather system brought record-breaking rain across the state, triggering widespread flooding, flash flood warnings, and emergency alerts. The deluge, intensified by a historic moisture plume from the Pacific, overwhelmed creeks, rivers, and low-lying neighborhoods. Meteorologists say the storm system first formed over the Pacific and then intensified as a long plume of tropical moisture, known as an atmospheric river, streamed into California. Over several days, this system dropped relentless rainfall, especially in coastal and mountainous regions.
I can't! No! Oh my God.
Cities including Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, Ventura, and parts of Orange County recorded between 1 to 2 inches of rain in a 24-hour period, with isolated mountain areas receiving 3 to 5 inches. Downtown Los Angeles saw particularly heavy rain. By early Sunday, it had already logged 2.57 inches in November, making it the city's wettest November since 1985. The geographic impact was extensive. Low-lying urban areas were under constant flood watches, while rural creeks and rivers swelled under the weight of the rain. At the same time, mountainous slopes, especially where wildfires had stripped the soil bare earlier this year, became vulnerable to dangerous debris flows and mudslides. Coastal zones, including shorelines in Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, also faced elevated flood risk and hazardous surf conditions as tides and runoff combined infrastructure took a severe hit. Roads and highways flooded in several counties, and highways that run through canyon areas were threatened by debris flows. In areas recently burned by fire, the soil's ability to absorb water was compromised, increasing the risk that rainfall would rush downslope as flows of mud and rock.
This is what happens when it rains here in Las Vegas, guys. You guys have never seen the rain here in Vegas.
Flood advisories were extended over large swathes of Southern California, including Los Angeles, Ventura, and Santa Barbara counties, affecting millions of residents in potentially life-threatening zones. Authorities responded swiftly. Evacuation warnings were issued for burn scar areas around Los Angeles, particularly in the Palisades, Sunset, and Hearst zones, where the risk of mudslides and debris flows was highest. Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles confirmed that mandatory evacuations were in force for a number of high-risk properties.
Oh my God.
All right.
Emergency services were on high alert, coordinating with the National Weather Service and other agencies to monitor water levels, secure infrastructure, and rescue those in danger. From a meteorological standpoint, the event illustrates how atmospheric rivers can become agents of extreme weather. These moisture-laden air streams carry enormous amounts of water vapor from the ocean, and when they stall over land, they can deliver prolonged, heavy rainfall. In California's case, the risk was compounded in areas recently scarred by wildfire. Burned soils lose their capacity to absorb water, turning hillsides into potential channels for fast-moving mud and debris flows. Furthermore, forecasters raise the possibility of embedded thunderstorms within the storm system, even brief tornadoes, as the intense moisture interacted with unstable air aloft.
Really?
In the wake of the storm, after effects began to emerge. Flooded streets remained, with some roads still impassable. Power lines in vulnerable areas were reported down, and localized outages were a concern.
That rain.
Even as the atmospheric river moved on, lingering thunderstorms kept flood risks alive. The National Weather Service warned that, given how saturated the ground already was, even moderate rain could trigger dangerous rock slides. There was also growing concern about waterborne health risks and property damage from standing water, especially where drainage systems had been overwhelmed or clogged by mud.
Houdini was a famous illusionist in the early 1900s. So did you know
But amid the chaos, scenes of resilience began to take shape. Communities rallied, neighbors helped neighbors, and first responders worked around the clock. Teams distributed sandbags, monitored key waterways, and assisted with evacuations in the most at-risk zones. Volunteers offered shelter and support to evacuees, especially those displaced from their homes or living near burned scars. Local leaders emphasized that cooperation and preparedness would be vital in this crisis.
I was not born to be in this kind of weather.